Alright, well, welcome back to Exhaustsports Auto. My name is Kevin, and because so many people found enjoyment slash value out of the 2022 BMW X5 video I did, I decided to do another video with the 2022 Mercedes GLE because if you watch my X5 review, you would see that I spoke rather highly of the GLE because that is kind of the SUV, the luxury SUV that I recommend in the segment, right? For multiple different reasons. I've done reviews on the GLE as well, so I will try and link all these videos down in the description box below. But with current circumstances, you can't really buy used cars anymore because the prices have shot up to an asinine level. And we also have new cars which are just non-existent on dealership lots, at least not vehicles that most people would want to buy, you know, in a desirable spec. So they might have some weird cars that nobody wants, but really most normal people are left with building or speccing out a vehicle from the factory. That's what they're left with. So you build it and then you wait. Let's kind of go ahead here with the Mercedes Benz website and let's build this GLE. And I'll kind of walk you through some of the models that I think are worth getting. When I did my review on the GLE, it was actually with the GLE 350, so the 4-cylinder model, as you see here. This exact one for $55,700. The rear-wheel drive 4-cylinder, that's what I drove, with the 255 horsepower, 273 pounds-feet of torque. Honestly, that's not a terrible engine. Like, it was pretty adequate, but really, that's not the luxury car experience that you come to expect with a vehicle of this price and caliber, right? So I would definitely recommend you stepping up to the GLE 450 with 362 horsepower and 369 pounds-feet of torque. I'll talk about the GLE 53 a little bit later in the video, but for right now, the 450 is our main objective. And don't get too concerned with the 0 to 60 times. Really, you're interested in the inline six for its smoothness and for the effortless thrust that it gives you out on the street. Okay, you want that luxury car experience. So we're going to go ahead with that 450. Another reason to go with the 450 is because 4MATIC comes as standard on this model. Now, coloring is pretty subjective. Now, something to keep in mind, your only two free options is the black and the polar white. Anything else, you're going to be paying a minimum of $750. And if you want the cardinal red or even the diamond white metallic, that's going to be about $1,750. I feel like they actually ramped up the price on those two colors for 2022, but no matter. The diamond white is pretty epic, but you know, for this sake, we can just go with silver for now. I think that'll do. As far as wheels go, the base wheel size is 19 inches, but this thing, the GLE, rides amazing. So honestly, I would rather have the 21-inch wheels because it looks proper. That's really the one that you want, as you can see. But perhaps you notice something. We have like these black wheel arches on it. A lot of people, including myself, really hate that. I'll be honest, with this vehicle, I can kind of stomach it. It doesn't look terrible on here. But if you want to get rid of those black wheel arches, you actually have to step up to the AMG line, which also gives you a sport exhaust system. So you have that as well. But if you hit the AMG exterior package for $3,200, mind you, it comes standard with 20-inch wheels, which look like junk. However, you can get these kind of multi-spoke wheels for an additional $1,100, and that looks much better. But again, you just paid a lot of money to have the privilege of having painted fender lining, right? So I'm actually going to remove that. I'm fine with this setup right here. These wheels look amazing. This is the exact setup I had on the 350 that I reviewed, and it looked great, so we'll go with that. Now down here, when you scroll down, a popular option is going to be the panoramic roof. That's $1,000. Me personally, I don't care for sunroofs at all because it's just one big gaping hole in your roof, and it's just going to ruin the structural integrity of your vehicle and probably cause issues down the line with either leaking or it's going to start creaking and rattling and all these things. So I would just avoid it altogether, but I understand most people would want that, and that's going to be a $1,000 option. Roof spoiler is kind of a waste. The load sill protector, you know, that's not bad. $175, might grab that. Illuminated star, if you want that douchebag option, you can go ahead and do that. So the Mercedes Benz emblem will light up at night. Running boards, absolutely not necessary. This is not a pickup truck. This is a very easy vehicle to get in and out of. So let's move on into the interior. And as we see here, black interior. I feel like most people would be happy with that, but I obviously like some color in my interiors, so I'm definitely going to choose the beige. However, keep in mind this is the MB Tex, so it's the fake leather. If you want real leather, well, that's going to be about $1,600 plus $350 with front passenger seat memory, so almost $2,000 for that. I'm going to skip it, but real leather is an option, of course. Now the trim, I'll probably just go with this aluminum trim. You know, it's the free option. The other ones, they cost more money. As soon as I start clicking on some of these, it's about $160. And you have like this manufacturer type of wood. I think manufacturer kind of replaces Designo or Designo, whatever it was called before. So that's what you have here. These are like the special options with the lines flowing through the wood. However, every time I click on that, the screen just blacks out. So I think there's something wrong with their website. AMG line interior, absolutely not necessary. I'll change this back to the aluminum because it's free. Third row seating package. Honestly, the third row is not worth it in any of these vehicles. I would just skip that, and I would just use it as a 2-row with a massive trunk. That's really the best thing to do, so avoid paying the $2,100. Now, here's a very important option with this GLE. Make sure to get this acoustic comfort package. This is basically like your laminated glass package, so it helps the vehicle to be much quieter. One thing I noticed with a lot of these Mercedes Benz products is there is some wind noise with it, but that pretty much goes away as soon as you get the acoustic comfort package, that acoustic glass package. Really mandatory. Really gives it that silent feel that a Benz really should have. Honestly, they shouldn't even be charging $1,100 for that. It should just be standard, but it is what it is. And I'll just throw in that heated steering wheel because it's only $250. You would come to expect features like that in a vehicle of this caliber. I would definitely pick the premium package because it includes the Burmester sound system. This is not the 3D Burmester that you get in the higher trim level Benzes, like the GLE 53, for example. But it's still a pretty good system nonetheless. I would get the warmth and comfort package. Why not? Ventilated seats. Sure. It's not necessary, but let's just throw it in there. Now, the front passenger does not need memory seats. Heated second row seats, you know, it just depends on how much you like your passengers or your kids even. No, I'm just joking. You know, it's $580. I'll say this, if you're like a real estate agent, I would probably go ahead and get these options, like for the rear passenger, like this four zone climate control, you know, try to make it as much of an opulent experience for your rear occupants. If you're in that type of business, I'm not going to check those for right now, but that's available to you. I feel like most people would be interested in a heads-up display. I never understood why. It's much like the sunroof, in my opinion. It's very useless. It's very much of a gimmick. In fact, I even find heads-up displays to be a distraction, and I just turn them off. But for a lot of people, they think that's high-tech, and they think it's cool, so you have to pay $1,100 for that. I would skip that, and I would rather get this aromatic suspension package, because that's really going to help make this thing ride like a dream. That's definitely worth it. And I would get those headlights, fancy headlights if you will. I'll get that. And the driver's assistance package, that's something I feel like most people would probably want to get, but it's $2,000. I'm going to skip that, because this thing, if you click on the see what's standard right here, this thing comes with a ton of safety features as standard. A lot of the things included in this $2,000 package, it's like the active safety assistance. And that's not really necessary, because it's essentially taking control away from you, the driver, which you should be paying attention to the road anyway. You don't really need active safety, okay? What comes with the vehicle is fine, like the pre-safety, the blind spot monitoring, that's standard. It'll brake for itself automatically, the active brake assist. So you have all these things. Parktronic with active parking assistance, rear view camera. You have all the things here already as standard to help you to not crash. So you're fine, all things considered. Kind of scroll through here, you got your little 9-speed transmission, you got the dynamic select for your drive modes. The 4MATIC, that's standard on the 450 models, as I already mentioned, and the advanced braking technology. You have the adjustable dampers. However, the air suspension is just on a different level. I would skip a lot of the gimmicks, and I would definitely pay up for that air suspension. I think it's worth it in my opinion. So yeah, that's why I would personally skip the driver's assistance package for $2,000. But if you just suck at driving, if you just never pay attention to anything, you have no idea what's going on, maybe consider getting it. But for the sake of this example, we're done here. And here's the GLE 450 that I would personally get. Okay, $74,000 is about what it costs with the options that I selected here. You know, some pragmatic options. I think that BMW X5 that I checked out was about $65,000. It was a rear-wheel drive model, but it had two little options on it, two little packages on it. You know, even with all-wheel drive, it would probably be about $67,000. So you can see that the X5 is a significantly cheaper vehicle to purchase than the GLE 450. However, I still maintain the GLE 450 is a superior vehicle, but you're paying up for that privilege. Now, this can get even more expensive, you know. Like, you get the nicer color, right, which I'll skip. I'll just change it to gray for right now. But you get things like this AMG package, right? You don't like the body, you don't like the black fender flares on it. You want it to have it color match. You get the panoramic sunroof. You know, you're really kind of tacking up the price here, right? You go to the options. You get the heads-up display. A lot of people want that. Driver's assistance. You know, you're at $81,000. You know, this is a very expensive vehicle at that point. So we went from $74,000 to $80,000 on the same vehicle, a GLE 450, right? So that's the thing. I mean, you can maybe remove a few things like the AMG package. Maybe you can live with that, but we're still talking about like a $77,000 vehicle. So 74, 77, 81. That's kind of your price point for the GLE 450 for a well-spec'd one. And here's the thing with the BMW X5. It comes standard with a inline-six engine. So the GLE models, you know, the four-cylinder is the base engine option. And sure, you can probably get that cheaper than the X5, but yeah, that's the main highlight with the X5 there. You get that excellent engine as standard, but this inline-six is actually superior to the base X5 inline-six. I just want to let you know that this is a superior feeling motor. Feels a little bit quicker in my opinion, so just keep that in mind. And the overall car just has like this solidity to it that I just really appreciate, that kind of hits above its weight class. I think this vehicle is worth $74,000 in my opinion. We can kind of run through a GLE 350 real quick if we want to. Kind of the same deal with the 4MATIC. Avoid some of that stuff. And really, I'm doing this for you in case you're in the buying market and you're thinking about, you know, which options to get, what's actually worth your money. You know, it's getting pretty tough out here. Things are very expensive. So you kind of scroll down here and get the same stuff. And this GLE 4MATIC, it's about $65,000. But again, I don't recommend getting the four-cylinder. The other vehicle, you know, I really liked the 53 models. The AMG Enhanced Inline-6 is so much fun. I really had a blast driving this motor in the CLS 53. I just thought it was such a fun vehicle to operate. And as you see here, you know, got to have the 22-inch wheels. That's a classic. I think gray looks pretty good on it. Again, I'm skipping the panoramic sunroof. It's just one big hole in the roof of the vehicle. Beige interior is my favorite, but in this case, it's like $4,500. AMGs are pretty aggressive, so we can settle for a red interior and just get the free aluminum trim. Yeah, get the same acoustic comfort package. You know, this is a very fun motor. It's still an inline-six, makes a bit more horsepower. 0 to 60 is not the reason why you purchase this. It just sounds amazing. I'm sure it's all fake. It's all kind of baked into the speaker system, but regardless of whatever they've done, it just feels like it has so much character driving the 53 models. So this is where you get the actual Burmester high-end 3D surround sound system That's the real system, and as you can see, it costs real money, but it's really worth it. It genuinely does sound amazing. I would skip this $5,200 package with the AMG Dynamic Plus. Really, the main thing here is the active ride control with the roll stabilization. You know, we're driving this thing out on the street. We're not trying to race it, so I don't think it's worth paying that $5,200. But the AMG Performance Exhaust for $1,200, we're definitely doing that. The surround view camera does help. It is pretty nice. Not a bad package for $500. And let's see here. The summary, well, we have here a $92,000 GLE 53. Almost like a $15,000 difference between the GLE 450 that I spec'd out and this. That's a pretty big difference, but I feel like if you're shopping in this segment, you probably have money to blow, and you're probably even paying cash for this because Benzes lease out terribly. I would try and give you some guidance into leasing it, typically like lease hacking it or finding a broker to lease it through, but really Mercedes has never been a good car to lease. Really paying cash for a Benz is your best bet, if I'm going to be honest with you, or even financing it at a very low term. And unfortunately, I don't think many dealerships are going to give you any discounts on these vehicles either. So that's what I'm saying. Like a $74,000 GLE 450 is really the best bang for your buck, all things considered. And if you have more money to blow, I would step it up to the 53 model. I think that's worth it. The 63 is going to be like, man, well over $120,000, $130,000. That's just going to be a very expensive car, unfortunately. $74,000 to $91,000. That's kind of the range that you're looking at here. So hopefully you did find some value with this review slash building slash speccing of this car. You know, let me know if you want me to do more of these types of videos, because this is what most people are going to be doing nowadays. They're going to be building and speccing one out at the dealership, and they're going to be waiting for it to come in. So I'm going to try and do a few more of these videos if it gets some traction and some views, because I think this can be just as important as doing a full-on car review. So thanks again for watching this video. Take care and goodbye.